Hello everyone and welcome to my June wrap-up. So before we get into the books I read in June, I finished this book in May. It is the last book of the Throne of Glass series, Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. I am so proud of myself because that was such a long series and I'm officially done with it. I loved it. I rated it 5 out of 5 stars. Such an amazing series, and this book was the perfect way to end it. I loved everything about this book, and if you have not read the Throne of Glass series, I would highly suggest it. But yeah, I finished this in May, not June, but I didn't end up doing a wrap-up for May. I wanted to talk about the fact that I did complete the Throne of Glass series. I wanted to tell you guys because, like I said, that is a huge accomplishment. So now on to the books I completed in June. So the first book I completed was One of Us is Lion by Karen M. McManus. So this book is about 5 high school students who are all in detention at the same time, and one mysteriously dies and the 4 other high school students in the room become murder suspects. The best way I can explain this book is Breakfast Club meets Pretty Little Liars. It's like the Breakfast Club, but a murder mystery that feels a lot like Pretty Little Liars. Throughout reading this, I thought I was going to rate it 5 out of 5 stars because I absolutely love Pretty Little Liars. It's one of my favorite TV shows of all time, and this book gave me that feeling. Like, it felt like Pretty Little Liars. However, there was stuff at the end that I wasn't happy with, like the big plot twist. I didn't feel like it really, I don't know how to explain it. I guess it shocked me, but I kind of didn't feel like it was like a good ending. Like, I was pretty disappointed. I was a little disappointed with how the couples of the story ended up. And I wrote about it on Goodreads in detail with spoilers. So if you have read this and want to know my thoughts on it with spoilers, go to my Goodreads. I'll put it on the screen right there so you guys can check that out if you have read this book, but I don't want to spoil anything. But I ended up rating it 4 out of 5 stars because it was still really amazing. It was just like the end, I was kind of disappointed with how it ended up, I guess. Like I said, I can't say that much without giving spoilers, so if you have read it and want to know what made me disappointed, it'll be on my Goodreads. But yeah, still would highly recommend. It was really good, especially if you like Breakfast Club and Pretty Little Liars. It definitely had that type of feel. It was still really, really good. I flew through it. The next book I completed this month was I Know How She Does It by Laura Van Averkamp. I don't know. I'm struggling to say that name, but I will pop up a picture of that book on the screen. I listen to audiobooks, so I don't have a physical copy. So here's what it looks like. So this is not the first audiobook I listened to by this author, and I find her very motivational. I love her books. They motivate me so much, and this one was very motivating as well as the other ones. However, the one complaint I do have about this book, and the one caution to have if you are going into this book, is it is based around women that make 6 figures. It's about them and their lives, so lots of the things they do might not be affordable for everyone. That was my one complaint with this. And I get the point of it, that she did it with women that had really, really good jobs, was because it was talking about how you can do it all. So she wanted to pick women that had very successful careers. And I get like the idea of it, but like I said, some of the advice kind of fell short for me because I will probably never make 6 figures. So like some of the advice about like getting babysitters for kids and stuff, like, and obviously I hope I have a decent enough job where I can afford a babysitter, but they were talking about like full-time care, and like that's not affordable for everyone to have like 40 hours a week babysitter or even more. Like, she suggested like not being ashamed to have a sitter, which is great if you can afford it, but some people just can't afford to have a sitter that often. I don't know, some of the advice I was like, not everyone makes six figures, so that's not really good advice for that many people. However, I am complaining a lot. This book was really good. There was some really good advice. I would still suggest it. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. I just want to put that out there that if you're reading it and you don't make six figures, why am I struggling to say that? But yeah, if you don't make 6 figures, some of the advice might be like, well, I don't really know if I could afford that. But I still found this book very motivational and I would still suggest it. Just know that going into it. I would like to say my favorite part of the book was about leisure time. I found that advice the best. Like, I very much enjoyed that. It's towards the end of the book, but that was probably my favorite part. I got the most out of that part. So yeah, just wanted to tell you guys that was my favorite part and I got the most out of that part. So yeah, if you do end up reading it, definitely finish it, because the end, I felt that advice was the best in my opinion, from my life. I took the advice. Like, it meant more to me than the other stuff. And I found good advice throughout the whole book, but the end was the best for me. The next book I completed in the month of June was The Truth About Magic by Atticus, and it is signed. And this book was so amazing, and I really was not expecting it to be as amazing as it is. Like, I just wanted some poetry and I just picked something out and I had no idea what to expect of it. I think I read a book by Atticus before and I wasn't super impressed. I think it has all the books he wrote in here. Maybe I can find it. Okay, it was I have. It's The Dark Between the Stars. I believe I read that, if I'm thinking of the right book. I hope I am. And it wasn't like my favorite thing ever. Like, it was pretty good, pretty decent, but it wasn't like this amazing poetry. But this was. I loved this. It just made me see magic in the smallest things. Like, I don't know. And I vlogged a little bit while I was reading this. That vlog will be up probably after this. But like, I was just like looking at the trees and I'm like, they are full of magic. Like, this book just made me see magic in small little things in life. I would highly, highly suggest this. And it's a super quick read and it'll just make you see magic in the world. So yeah, highly, highly suggest. 5 out of 5 stars. The final book I read this month was Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins, and I do not have a physical copy of this book, so I will pop it up on the screen right now. So I have many mixed feelings on this book. So, I mean, it was okay, but I don't really know how to really talk about this, and I want to be careful not to spoil anything. But I found this book to be pretty problematic, to be honest. None of the friendships were really good friendships. Like, I didn't feel like super connected to any of the characters. I do have to say, like, the main character, Anna, I really hated her in the beginning. And then towards the end, I started to like her a little bit more. Her character did grow into a more likable person throughout the book. But this book was just really a miss for me. Like, I can't really talk about it without spoiling it. But I just found very problematic things in this. The main love story just was not good. I mean, I can tell you guys this because this isn't really spoiling anything. I'm just telling you what it's about. So basically, Anna has like a crush on this guy, St. Clair. Well, she gets sent to France and she whines about it. Her parents sent her there. Her dad sent her there for a year to go to school there, her senior year. And she complains and complains and complains. Like, I'm like, seriously? Most people would die for the opportunity to do something like that. But no, she just complains. And then she ends up like having a crush on this guy, St. Clair, in France, who also attends that school. And he's like supposedly perfect. Every girl's in love with him. And she's like, I can't be one of those girls that falls in love with him. And of course, he has a girlfriend. And things happen between him while he has a girlfriend. And I do not support that at all. And like if something happens, if you're with somebody and something happens between you and another person, you need to break up with the person you're with immediately. You need to tell them what happened and why you're breaking up with them. And that does not happen in this book, and I found that very problematic. I just found these characters to be a very one-dimensional and just not healthy relationships going on at all. I feel like most of the people in this story, I actually cannot think of one person in this story who did not put themselves first and their own feelings first. They definitely, I guess Anna at some points puts St. Clair's feelings first, but no one else's. I mean, everyone in this book thinks about themselves. So I ended up rating this 2 out of 5 stars. The only reason I didn't rate it 1 is it was like somewhat enjoyable, even though it was problematic. Like, I was pretty interested in it, but like the problems in it just stand out so much. I couldn't fully enjoy it. But I mean, the writing style was okay, and I listened to it on audiobook, and whoever told it, like read it, she was pretty good at it. So I guess that made it more enjoyable. If I would have read it as a physical copy, I probably would have hated it even more. But yeah, I would not really suggest this book to anyone who doesn't like absolute cheesiness, or if you enjoy seeing people practically cheat on their significant others, maybe you should read this, but personally, that's not my thing. Okay, now that I'm done complaining about that book, I'm currently reading One True King by Soman Shinami. I'm sorry, the cover's off. I just find it too annoying to have it on. I would have thought I would have had this finished. It's a really freaking good, but I've talked about this before. I'm currently taking a college class online, and I just started it this month, and adjusting to it has been a lot. And so I haven't had as much time for reading as I would have liked. So I'm on page 282, and I'm loving it. Definitely watch out for it in my July wrap up, because I will have a lot to talk about this because it's so good. It's the last book of the series, and I'm going to cry when I finish it because I've been invested in this series since I was 13, and I cannot believe this is the last book. I feel like that's another reason I'm taking my time with this, is because once it's done, it's done. Like, there's going to be no more books. So I'm kind of treasuring the moments with this book. So that is it for this wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!